What's up guys, welcome back to another video. What we're gonna do today is something that has been let off for a very long day. We are gonna assemble the Ciao engine. Get the new cylinder on there that I got from JMPB parts, fix the cylinder head, fixed the hole. Well, the hole is already fixed, but I have to grind away some stuff to make everything fit. What I'm talking about is this. Now in one of my previous videos I talked about this. There was a hole right there and I fixed it with some metal putty or whatever you want to call it. But now this doesn't fit anymore. It grinds on it. It doesn't work anymore. I can't get it on it. So that is what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna grind away the excess material, get the flywheel to fit. I'm also gonna do the inside because there is some stuff, I don't know what to call it, like patching material right there on the intake ports. I'm gonna grind away that. Then I can put on the cylinder and then I can fix the cylinder head because it's not sealed yet. Where the decompression valve is, it still leaks right there. I'm gonna do that with this. It's like a valve grinding tool or whatever. It's something that you use when your valves are not seating right. If they don't seal up right, you use that stuff and that should make it work. Now I have a 2-stroke engine, but the decompression valve is the same principle as a valve on a 4-stroke engine. But that is gonna be for another day, but still in the same video. I have 3 days to complete this. It's Saturday right now. On Sunday I'm not gonna film. Then on Wednesday and Thursday I can film and the video has to be up on Friday. So I have to take into consideration a day of editing. But yeah, hopefully I can get the engine assembled and after that we can do a leak down test. But that is going to be for another video because I have to build stuff for that. So first of all, what I want to do in this engine, get this whole electrical stuff out of here. I don't want to mess it up, and for grinding right here it's going to be pretty annoying when this is right here. So I'm going to take out that. It's pretty easy, just loosen these 3 bolts and then the whole assembly should come out. You have to loosen these rubber grommets to get the wires out, and then we have a bare bone engine. That is the first thing that I'm gonna do. So the only things that I should need is a small screwdriver and my Allen keys. Now let's find the right Allen key. Then just loosen these up. I don't think I used Loctite on these. There are screws right here, but you don't have to take them out. Okay, the electrical piece should be loose. And now carefully take out these grommets. I'm gonna have to be careful not to damage them because they are pretty old. And that's 1 and that's 2. Now we can pull this out and our wiring system is free. And would you look at that, a bare engine. So now the whole spark system is free and we have better access to this where we need to grind away. I'm also a little bit concerned about this seal, if it still holds up after 16 years, but we'll see when we do a leak down test. Now let's just try the wheel on there. As you can see, it moves around. I'm gonna turn it a little bit, take it back off, and as I can see, it grinds right here. So I'm gonna have to clean this up, this whole section, get it down. There's a lot of stuff on here. Later this day I'm gonna do this one, but for now I just want to focus on that one. Now how I'm gonna do it, you've probably seen it right here. Here is my Dremel tool with the flexible arm, like flexible tool, so I can grind pretty easy. I don't have to worry. I have much more control. And I'm just gonna use like these kind of tools. They're like little grinding tools. We have a round one, a sharp one, I have a flat one, and all that other stuff. So that is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna do a time lapse of that because it's gonna take a lot of time. But yeah, I'm just gonna grind that away. I'm gonna focus on the flywheel side first, and then I'm gonna move on to the inside. But if I can get the flywheel to fit and clear perfectly and not make another hole again, I'm gonna be happy about that. There's small little tolerances. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So I grinded away as much material that needs to be grinded away to clear the whole crankshaft housing. Now the best tool you can use for this is like this grinding stone. These kind of stuff don't really work or take much material off, but this works really fast. I think it was like a half an hour. The clearance should be good now. What I did is just put the flywheel on, rotate it, see where the markings are, grind the markings away, put the flywheel back on until I felt and saw no more markings. And when I put on the flywheel right now, it rotates and I hear and I feel no noise. Now it's not pushed down. I try to push it down every single time. There's always a margin for error. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the clutch and I'm gonna put it on there. It doesn't have to be really tight on it, but I want even pressure. When I rotate now, no noise. So we should be good for the outside. So now we still need to do the inside, but of course the crankshaft is still in there, and that's a problem. We need to seal it off. Now if you haven't seen the video before where I started grinding on it, you don't know how I prevented stuff from getting in there. So I'm gonna show you guys again. Now a guy commented on that video saying, it is always a bad idea grinding with the crankshaft in there. And I know that, I know it, but I don't want to take it out. This is the way that I have to do it. So first, stuff in some paper towel, make it all nice and compact. Let's push it down. Okay, that's pretty tight in there. Now use some Play-Doh. So now it's all sealed up, as you can see, every single corner. Now it's not the best job I can do to seal it off, taking out the crankcase. I know it would be better, but for now, that is good. Now I have to grind away the little piece. Now I'm not really concerned about flow or whatever. I just want to get it smooth and even right now. I'm just gonna use the same method or the same tool, just grind it away, smooth it out, and hopefully everything works out. So everything is grinded away, ready to be assembled. This is nice and smooth from the inside. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna check with the cylinder kit on there if everything still fits. I'm just gonna put in the studs loosely. Now let's see if she fits. So we are ready. We are at the step that I wanted to be a long time ago, assembling this engine. But of course I still need to do some other work. Still need to make this airtight, get that decompression valve seated right. But let's put it on like it would be. And yeah. So I don't have the decompression valve right here, right now, but I'm gonna do that another day, but it's gonna be the same video. Stay tuned, guys. I'm gonna make this seat right, and then I can assemble this whole engine, make everything fit. Everything looks fine. I am so happy. Let's get this wheel back on here. Nice and smooth. No noise. We're almost ready to assemble this engine. I'm so happy. This should have been done months ago, but here we are now. Problems happen. Now, before I want to skip to the next day, I just want to talk about why I'm doing this. I encountered this problem. Is this a good idea to do yourself? The reason why people do this, and they can do it at an extreme level, like open it up even more, make it all fit much better, is all to do with this, how we create spark. Now, on racing engines, you don't see stuff like this. You don't see this big, massive flywheel. This constricts power and whatever. You can see this like a racer stator. It's not that heavy. The engine has less resistance. So they put on a small stator. When you have the wheel and you want to rotate it, it's a lot of power. When I do it with this, a small wooden block that weighs less than this wheel, it is pretty easy. But with this arm is going to be tired out a lot faster when I do it like this. I can do this all day with this. See how fast I can move it. But with this, it's pretty hard. So what they do, they make something that's smaller, lightweight, but does the same thing. Now, why didn't I buy that? Stuff like that, racing stuff, costs a lot of money. For what this engine is gonna do and what I want to do with the bike, I'm not at the point of spending all that money, but maybe in a later time I want to spend that much money and get that racing part and make these intakes even larger, build it up right here and make the intakes really large, make them fit perfectly, get a nice flow in it. But for now I have to work with this, get that on there. I even think with racing crankshaft, there's sometimes you cannot use this anymore. You have to use a racing style stator. I think it works like that. But for now, this is the only thing I have to work with. This is the only one. So maybe in the future I will switch over to more racing, replace this crankcase, do all that stuff. But yeah, for now it's just that's the way we have to do it. So now let's skip to the next day and I will fix this head and maybe assemble the engine completely. Who knows? So now we come to the second step of the engine assembly, making this head seal up with this decompression valve. This was an issue before, now we're gonna fix it. I made a handy little tool to set the head up and the decompression valve just goes in here. Now, as I told you, I have to grind away with this valve grinding kit. It is a kit that you usually use on 4-stroke engine with intake valves and exhaust valves, but we can use it on this. It's the same principle. We got some fine grit and we got some coarse grit, and also we got our tool here for our normal valves. Normally you would stick it on there and then you can do it like this, but this valve is too small, so we're not gonna need this. What I'm gonna do, I got my drill here and I got a drill bit. In the decompression valve there is a line cut in there where you can put in a screwdriver, but doing it with a screwdriver like this would be too much work, so I'm gonna use a drill and just grind it, clean it, grind it, clean it, grind it, clean it. First with the coarse grit and then with the fine grit. First I'm gonna clean the inside of the decompression valve where it seats. I'm just gonna use some alcohol, degrease it, clean it out, get all the dirt and stuff out of there. When I look inside of there, I can see some corrosion, some lines. It's not smooth. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of work to get it smooth again, but we have all the time in the world. Let's get everything set up. It's gonna be fun. So I'm done resealing the decompression valve. Hopefully it works, but we will only know when we do a leak down test if our engine is totally sealed up and everything is airtight. Now after you've done this, you need to clean every single part. There can't be anything left on your engine parts or else you will have some troubles. So I cleaned the cylinder head and I cleaned every single part of the decompression valve, the springs, the seats, everything. So now we are ready to reassemble it and get a step closer to completing the engine. So let's take our cylinder head, and what I'm gonna do, I got some 2-stroke oil and I'm just gonna put on a little dab on the shaft and then just drop it in there. Turn it over, and now we can put on all our parts. Now comes the hard part, putting everything together with the spring, with everything. And there it is. Okay, and now I'm just gonna put in 1 drop in here. And that's it, our decompression valve is back in there, ready to go on the engine. So we are finally at the moment where we can assemble the engine, the cylinder kit, the cylinder head, piston, everything. Everything is fixed, everything is cleaned, everything is ready to be assembled. As I told before, this had to be done a very long time ago, but things happen. I got a hole into the crankcase, but we fixed it. It is good now. We can assemble the engine. So I have everything here, every tool, every lubricant. I got some Loctite, I got some 2-stroke oil, I got some gasket material, all my wrenches, all my pliers, some rubber gloves, some paper towel, everything I need to assemble the engine. I'm still gonna do some extra steps to check everything, if everything is good, but we should be ready to install the engine to do a leak down test. That is the whole purpose of today. Get it ready to do that. Let's just get into it, and I will guide you every step of the way what I do in assembling this engine. Okay, let's get the engine, and what I first want to do, I'm gonna put some 2-stroke oil on the crank bearings just to make sure when we first start up it is well lubricated. Okay, looks good. Now we're gonna take our cylinder. I'm gonna put in some oil in it because the first thing I want to check is the piston gap. Let's get these piston rings and let's just put one in here and check the gap. Push it down. Let's get our feeler gauge. 0.15 should be enough. Got that. See if we have a bigger one. 0.2. 0.2 barely fits, so this means this piston ring is good. For the piston gap, another one. 0.2 doesn't fit. Yeah, 0.15. So that means our piston rings are good, or at least better than the ones before. So now let's first install the piston, because that is going to be much easier. There's a small little arrow that needs to point down to the exhaust side, so the holes need to be up. So let's get our piston pin. lube it up. I'm first gonna do, put some paper towel inside of it because we're working with small pieces and we don't want anything to go inside our crankcase. So put it like this. So now, because the bearing can move around on the shaft and there's a lot of play between it when it's in the piston, I'm gonna put in some copper washers. Now these copper washers are 1.5, but spacing between the bearing and the piston is 4, I think. I'm just gonna bend them in the middle just a little bit so they act a little bit like springs. Lube up the bearing and put it in the crank. Now let's start the pin, put in a washer. So now the one spacer is in there, but I'm still gonna need another one. I think I got it. Yeah, now the bearing sits much neater. Should be perfect. Now let's get these small retaining clips. First one's in. Okay, piston is in. Let's put in some oil, nice and smooth. Now let's put in our piston rings. Okay, piston rings are on there. Time for the next step. Now let's put in some thread locker in the holes where the stud goes and put in the studs. Looks pretty good. Time for the next step. Now let's get our gasket material, put it on where the gasket it will sit. The best way is gonna put it on the gasket itself. Dabble it on with your finger. Looks good. Now there's small little tabs in the piston ring grooves. You need to line them up with the openings to get your piston rings to seat right. So that is a thing you have to watch out for. Let's first get it on the studs. So it's a lot of playing around with it, applying pressure, pushing it in. That should be in there. Okay, looks pretty good. Now let's get our head gasket. Now our head. Now put some washers on it, on every stud. Okay, and now apply even pressure to every single stud. Okay, and here it is. Our engine is assembled again. So here it is, the engine assembled, back together, got some nice compression already. I already tested for some leaks and couldn't find anything. The decompression valve doesn't leak at this moment, but we still have to do a leak down test. That means putting pressure inside the whole engine, blocking off the exhaust, going through the intake and giving it a pressure of 6 psi, but I still have to make stuff for that, so that is going to be for another video. Now I'm so happy with this engine, it's back together, couldn't wish for anything more. With all the struggles that we have to go through, I'm pretty happy about that. If you are working on a Ciao yourself, go visit jmpbparts.com. I got this cylinder kit from them, and basically all the parts that are going on the Ciao come from those guys. So check out jmpbparts.com. I'm gonna put the links to everything in the description down below, where to get the cylinder kit, where to get some other stuff, useful stuff to make your engine run again, or maybe build up to a 65cc like I did. I'm so happy that I'm at this stage. Can't wait to hear the bike run again and ride it. So it's a big step in the Ciao project. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. And if you're not already subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.